Hello, my friend, and welcome to the Sales Podcast. I'm Wes Schaefer, the Sales Whisperer, your host. You are in for a treat. We've got James Malinchak in the house. He's from Vegas, big money speaker. We talked about when I first heard him speak, and it was down in San Diego. It was many years ago, and he owned that room. And I've been following what he has been doing ever since. He's a straight shooting guy, and he gave a lot of very specific information. This is a quick interview. He had a very tight schedule. We ended a little bit abruptly, but we got in almost 30 minutes, and he answered every question I threw at him. Like I said, he covered some specific details on what he does to land big speaking gigs, and I'm putting those into practice myself already. So you will want to take some notes. You're going to want to visit the episode as well. I've got the notes. I've got links to everything, just like I do on every episode. So if you like that, if you want any different type of notes or input, please let me know. Send me a question on comments on the blog, on Facebook. Leave me a 5-star review on Twitter. Ask a question, and I'll see all that. And I appreciate it. You'll be surprised at how few people do that. It's really pretty interesting. And I may discuss that coming up soon. I've been talking with some friends of mine, colleagues in the marketing space, social media space, speaking, author space, podcasting space. We've got some theories on that, seeing a lot of different engagements, higher engagement in other areas. So it's not that engagement is down, it's just that it has shifted. So, and all of that has implications for us moving forward. But I digress. As I mentioned in the last episode, the Make Every Sale course, the price has gone up, but it's still a lifetime access right now. But I've added a 365-day money-back guarantee. So do yourself a favor and plug into a group that is led by someone with experience, somebody you have access to. This isn't one of those, sign up and, once a month I'll hop on for a little group Q&A and hide behind a screen or just a microphone, actually. Sometimes we'll go 4 or 5 weeks in a row, live, interactive, video recorded calls. We're always doing 2 or 3 live calls per month. And it just depends on the travel schedule. But even when I travel, I try to squeeze it in, or I get one of the members to lead an open forum Q&A with the members. A lot of people tell me that's the highlight of their week. They look forward to the call. I know when I got serious about sales, and having a system to stop just winging it and hustling to make sales, that I joined a 12-week course, and that was the highlight of my week. I did not miss one of those calls. I look forward to it. I look forward to the interaction, to the learning. So, reward yourself and give yourself the luxury of time. Everything moves so quickly, but you've heard me talk about doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. There's just nothing can replace time on the mat. You have to go in and get beat up. You have to go get submitted and tap out and learn from your mistake and do it again and again and again. So do you love it enough to be humiliated, right? Do you love it enough to go through the pain and the sore muscles and the sweat and the expense, to get good at something? Everybody wants an immediate fix. I had a young guy, just cancel. And he was in it for 2 weeks. And one of the weeks I was in Houston, helping friends evacuate, get out of homes, rebuild, raise money so they can put their lives back together. And he said, it had nothing to do with it. But he was going off in the group about who's going to hold the call. And he's private messaging me on Facebook. Like he wants private, custom, one-on-one support while I'm in waist-deep sewage water helping friends rebuild their lives. And then he cancels. And I had a 60-day money-back guarantee before I made it a year. So, he still had 6.5 more weeks, to go through the 41 videos, the 30 or 40 recorded calls, the templates, the 60-plus page workbook, the handouts, the supplemental content I've created. And people were answering his questions in the group. And I even answered a couple of his questions, and he complimented me on how I over-delivered on his questions. So he was getting one-on-one coaching from me. It was just, he had to ask the question publicly or in our group, right? So public to our private group. and I'd answer it. And again, the group is small enough to where I can get to the questions. And that's the other benefit of joining now. I'm still working on an ad campaign, a 3-step sequence, webinar, blah, blah, blah. We're going to start hitting that hard coming up. We're going to get more people in this class. And as that happens, you're going to have less access to me. But anyway, he cancels. He says it's not what he's looking for. And he's a young guy. And I know he wants one of these 50,000 person group things where there's just constant chatter. But I don't really want that. There's only so much information you can take in. Eventually, you have to take action. And if you're constantly looking at a Facebook feed for information, you're not going to take action. So I think we've got the right mix of asking questions, learning new information, taking action, monitoring the results, documenting them, asking how they can be improved, then go and iterating and measuring that, and just rinse, wash, and repeat. That's how you grow. There's no silver bullet. So come join us, all right? MakeEverySale.com. You can even make payments over the course of a year, but you'll pay a little more for that. But hey, I understand sometimes cash is tight. But if you sign up and apply yourself and engage, ask questions and apply, you'll make that money back. I guarantee it. All right? So thanks for listening. Now let's bring on our guest. James Malinchak, all the way from hot Las Vegas. Welcome to the Sales Podcast, man. How the heck are you?
Hey, Les, thanks for having me, man. I'm great.
Well, we finally catch up. This has been months in the making. I was glad we were able to reschedule. I was traveling, and your assistant was gracious, so I appreciate it. You are the big money speaker, are you not?
No, that's what they say. It's better than being a little money speaker, I guess.
So you learned all about speaking hanging out in Hawaii, right?
No. I learned about surfing and in Hawaii. Played college basketball there. So then I moved to Los Angeles after college.
So how did you make that transition? I mean, how do you go from chilling and dunking to speaking in some of the biggest stages out there?
Oh, my story is so much different than most people's. I never planned on speaking. I didn't even know that the speaking industry existed. And when I started, I was so broke. I was making $7 an hour working in a video store, trying to pay my rent, living in Los Angeles. And $400.
So for all of our young listeners, there used to be a place, an actual physical building you would go rent a video, VHS, and you were charged $1 if you didn't return them rewound.
That's true.
James was the bouncer. He would stand there at the door and say, "Give me $1. You did not rewind your video." Okay, so anyway,
I wasn't even the bouncer. I couldn't even advance to that level. But no, I was so broke because I listened to people who said, "Just dream big and tell your story and speak with passion, and you'll be successful as a speaker." And here I am, broke. I'm doing that, but I'm broke and working in a video store because what I realized was none of that matters if you can't get booked. So walked around the video store a lot telling my story, but never did it on a stage because I didn't realize that, that stuff is the first side of the coin. But then the second side of the coin is this thing called the business. And when I learned that, that's when I went from nothing to, 100 some talks a year booked.
And how quick was that transition?
It actually took me about 3 years because unlike today, back then there was nobody really to tell me. I went to like speaker associations and most of it was a load of crap. They're telling you make 100 cold calls a day, you'll get 10 people interested. You open up one account, you'll book one booking, and I got hung up on. People were like, "Why are you bothering me?" So none of that actually worked. So it took me about 3 years to actually really figure it out because I didn't know what I was doing the first 2 years.
Right. So what was the magic bullet, if you will? I mean, so you're banging your head, you're doing all this old school stuff. What was the switch, that flipped for you? Because that's a good transition. I mean, 2 years of nothing, and then within 1 year, you're getting booked 100 times a year. That's big.
Yeah, I think the first year I did like 2 talks maybe or 3, and then the second year was about 30 to 40, and then the third year is when I really crushed it. And Well, here's the trick, and this is what I teach everybody in my big money speaker boot camps. That look, you can be the best speaker in the world. If I can outmarket you, I'll beat you every day of the week. And that doesn't mean I'm a better speaker. That just means that you got to get to the 8 balls, and that's what I figured out. So what I always teach is, look, you and I are shooting a game of pool. I can knock in every ball on the table, but if you knock in the 8 ball, you win, I lose. Well, the 8 ball of speaking, I quickly figured out, especially in that third year, is you got to get to the people who control the budgets, and you got to get them to pick you and book you and pay you a check to speak on your message. Nothing else matters. You can have all the branding and the fancy website and all that stuff. None of it matters. You got to get to the people who are the decision makers, who control the budgets, and get them to pay you. Even if you're not being paid as a fee paid and you're doing a speak to sell, you still got to get to the people and convince them to pick you. That's the only, and I just got really good at that once I figured that thing out.
Right. So who are those people? Are you talking about like heads of associations, or are these like marketing VPs? Well,
it depends. So like if you're a corporate speaker, then, you've got association executives, you've got training and development coordinators. You've got, most people don't realize about this one, but you've got the person in charge of booking all the meetings at the casinos or the hotels. Like I live in Vegas, and I've got all of these Vegas casino, people who book meetings to come there, who refer me out to the people when they book and secure a meeting location. You talk about colleges, there are 16, 17 different departments at every college and university that actually have budgets. So there are 4,200 roughly, give or take, colleges and universities in America. You multiply that by just an average of 15, that's 63,000 potential bookings there. Most people don't even know that colleges and universities have these different departments. People like student activities, Greek life, coordinator of career services, residential coordinator in charge of dormitory halls, and so on and so on. And you look at youth, and I've spoken for some of the biggest youth conferences out there, where I've actually gone out and walked out of that conference with 30, 40,000 for a youth conference, where people are like trying to get $500. Because I just figured out who the people are and all the budgets they have, whether it's state and federal funding, et cetera, that comes in. So it really depends on who you're going after. Let me tell you a big mistake most people make is they have one set of marketing materials and try to go after everybody. There's the youth market, and that's K through 12. Then there's the college and university market, which is completely different than the educational youth market. And then there's the corporate and association market. So I have a set of marketing materials specific for each one. And so even like I speak for some professional sports teams, like I spoke for the NBA Players Association and coaching groups, I have a different set of marketing materials that I use when I market to pro teams. So It depends really who you're going after. But again, it comes back to the 8 balls. You got to get to the people who are the decision makers and get them to pick you, or you're broke.
Yep. Now, do you have like a signature talk that you pretty much give all the time? Are you making things totally unique for each of those different, or do you have like one signature talk for K to 12 colleges and corporate, and you stick with those? Like, how do you personalize versus systematize?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for the corporate and association market, I have one talk that actually fits 3 different themes. If you look at the corporate and association market, there are 3 main themes, not topics, 3 main themes of the majority of conferences out there. You've got success, motivation, be better. Number 2 theme, you've got sales. And number 3 theme, you've got leadership. So I basically have one really good talk that fits each of those 3 themes. But I have different titles for each one. So the first one's called Success Starts with Attitude. Second one's called Selling More Starts with Attitude. Third one's called Great Leadership Starts with Attitude. Pretty much the same talk through. It's just here I drop in the word success and being better. Here I drop in the word sales professional. And over here I drop in the word leader, but it's pretty much the same talk. However, I just 3x'd my chance of getting booked because I now fit 3 different themes of corporate conferences.
Right.
If you college and university, I've got 4. Why? Because I want to tap into the markets when they book the most. So I've got a talk for all the incoming students. I got a second talk for all the exiting students. I've got a leadership talk that hits all the leadership students. And then I have a success in college talk that hits all the students anytime during the year. So I just 4X'd my chance of being booked in that market. I actually got a FIP talk too for collegiate athletes because I'm a former college athlete that goes specific. So I just 5X'd my chance of getting booked in the college market. And for youth, I pretty much have one universal talk because usually I'm a keynote speaker for youth conferences, and that talk is all centered around going for your dreams and not quitting and believing in what you're trying to do in life.
Right.
But if you put that all together, I mean, I got 8 to 10 different verticals that I could be booked in. So I just 8 to 10 X'd my chance of being booked.
So, I mean, are you buying like different URLs? So you have like different landing pages for each of those?
No, I'm a big proponent, and this is going to shock you, Wes, but I do more direct mail than anybody on the planet when it comes to speaking. A couple reasons. One is I can't tell you how many event coordinators I've talked to that said, man, I ain't looking for somebody on Facebook. So you try to run Facebook ads to 5 event coordinators, and they're not even looking there because it's a social platform for them. And when they go and type into, like I say, they type into Google or they type into YouTube, they're looking for like motivational speaker or sales speaker. Well, whoever can manipulate keywords and meta tags and that are going to come up. So they're not really finding who they really want to find. So if you think about it, nobody out there, no speakers out there actually show up in their mailbox because everybody is seduced by the internet thinking that, it's so easy and it's free. It's really not free. It actually costs you money. Even if you have an email list of coordinators with deliverability rates today, those emails aren't getting through. So when people say, well, I've got like a 10,000 person email list, right away I say, all right, well, you actually got probably a 500 person email list or 1,000 person email list, and of what's getting delivered and then what's getting open, you really are actually losing money. Whereas if I buy a list of 10,000 coordinators and I run it through the National Address of Change, NCOA, National Change of Address in D.C., I know that 95, most likely 97 or 98% of the mail I send is getting to you and coming across your desk. And therefore, when you look at it, you go, as long as it looks right and has the right wording that you're looking for, you go, oh my gosh, this guy would be perfect for, our group. And by the way, zero competition because nobody mails. I got a great deliverability rate. I show up in your mailbox where I have no competitors. It's not hard to book 100 gigs a year. So play this out. Let's say you do 10,000. I'm getting ready to do a mailing, 10,000 mail piece. 1,000 people, as long as it's the right mail piece, going to the right audience. Okay, 10,000, law of numbers, 10,000 dropped in the mail. 1,000 will be interested. I'll book 100 talks, and if my fee's $20,000, I just made $2 million, and it cost me about $10,000, about $1 a piece to mail that in the mail.
Yep. Nobody
mails. They lost the art of direct mail and showing up where nobody else shows up.
So you held up a little postcard there. I mean, is it as simple as that? I mean,
actually, I'm sorry. That's actually an envelope.
Oh, okay.
I was just grabbing it. Yeah, I don't give out my mail pieces. People pay me $20,000-$25,000 to write mail pieces for them, so I don't give that stuff out. That's proprietary information.
Oh yeah, yeah. But if nobody is showing up in the mailboxes, is it enough just to start raising awareness? I mean, even if it's just a postcard, if somebody wants to keep their budget low and try to start getting some bookings, or do you recommend go big?
Well, let me tell you what you should not do, and that's postcards. Here's what coordinators, event meeting planners have told me over the years, and I'm very smart. I just do what they tell me they like. Okay. So it's basically, hang on one second. I'm going to grab one. I'm going to show you. Hang on one second. All right, now I'm going to show you what's on it. But it's basically a 6-page brochure. So and this is actually not even the printed one. This is just a prototype.
Right.
Printed one. But 6 pages. Okay?
Yep.
6 pages. So basically, I forget what size paper that is, but it's like 3 8.5 and 11 sheets of paper together.
Yeah.
Check this out. Comes to me like this, all sealed up. So right here, you throw a stamp and you throw an address label. less than $1 to mail that out.
Yep.
And there's more than enough information on here. I could tell you a gazillion of my students who'd never believe me, and we rent the right list. We put the right stuff on here. They mail these out to the right coordinators and get booked right off the brochure, or at least drives them to a website where they can watch a video of the person. This is all we use right here. Yep. 6-page, what I call my 6-page brochure. By the way, the reason I came up with this, Wes, is because I asked the coordinators. I said, well, what do you like? Do you want to get cold called? They're like, man, don't interrupt my day. I don't have time for that. So I said, okay, how about postcards? They're like, if you see some of the mail I get, especially for my corporate mail in the mail bag, like I don't even notice those. But they would tell me, and they would actually show me and give me. It used to be a 4-page brochure is what they originally taught me. Okay. And then I realized years later that I could add a whole nother 2 pages, and it cost me like nothing to put it on there. And it only costs 1 stamp. So I can mail 10,000 pieces. As long as it has the right stuff on here going to the right people, I can mail 10,000 pieces for, with the printing of this and the postage, it's like $8,000. So just round it up, say $10,000. That's $1 a piece. If your fee's $10,000, 1 talk pays for it, and you've got 10,000 of the right people who know you exist. Law of numbers. Mail out 10,000, 1,000 get interested, 100 book you. Well, all right, what if 50 booked you? And your fee's $10,000. You made $500,000 for $10,000 investment. If I say, give me $10,000, I'll give you $500,000 back. You do that every day of the week that ends in Y.
Yep.
So
now, are you sending the exact same piece? Let's say you got a list of 10,000, and 3,000 are youth market, 3,000 are college, 4,000 are corporate. Is it the same piece to those 10,000?
No. So this is my corporate one.
Okay.
But I have a completely different one that's for youth. Okay, because everything on the youth one is speaking to what youth coordinators want. It is speaking the language of youth. Like here, if you could see, like, there's pictures of me speaking for corporations. But for the youth one, it's all me with kids and me with educators. And then for the college one, completely different.
Yep.
And it's just me with college students and event coordinators. All the languaging on here is, for college kids and what they can expect. And I'm living in their world when I talk on here. I'm living in the youth world when I talk on the teen one. And I'm living in the corporate and association world when I talk on this one. So 3 separate. Again, it comes back to what I said earlier. Big mistake is people have one set of materials and try to go after everybody.
Right.
I learned this a long time ago. Pick a niche, grow rich.
Yep.
So.
And so I'm gonna guess then kind of what got us off on this was talking about like the landing pages. So are you sending them to custom landing pages as well for each of the verticals?
No, they look. I've done this so many times that literally they'll call or email me based on right down here, and then I get on the phone and we just do the deal. As long as you look good. As long as you look good. But my new website that I have built, it'll be done, 3 weeks or so. It comes to me. It's all about me, and then they pick. It says corporate and association talks. Click here. And when they click there, everything on that page is basically all of this just relating for corporate and association.
Right.
If they click for teenager talks, it goes to that page where it's all the youth stuff.
Yep.
If they click on the college and university one, then they go there for all the languaging and everything about the college and university talks. Because here's a big thing that I have learned over the years, that coordinators don't doubt that you could speak and do well. They wonder if you know how to relate to their audience. So let's pretend that you're a corporate type speaker and your materials reflect that, and I'm a college coordinator. I get your stuff, or I see you, and I go, well, okay, she does really well for corporate, but can she relate to my kids? So by having 3 separate ones, one that's tailored specifically for that coordinator and those kids, it tells them subconsciously, oh, she can handle my kid. Look, she's speaking for colleges. Here are the kids interacting, having a great time. Look at these testimonials from college event coordinators. Look at these testimonials from students whose lives have been changed and impacted. Okay, I can feel comfortable hiring her for, the college talk or for this college program.
Right.
So
how worried are they, that you're going to pitch my audience, right, or come across some big hard sale. And how do you juggle that, right? How do you say, you know what, I want to just get paid a keynote speaking fee versus let me come in and speak almost for free, but allow me to sell from the back of the room?
Well, those three that I just gave as examples, I mean, I do absolutely no selling at all. Those are for fee-paid talks.
Okay.
Like last week, I spoke here in Vegas for 750 people. And, that was a fee-paid talk. I'm there to be paid a fee and do my job, which is to kick off their convention really well, get them all fired up. But I'm not there to sell products.
Right.
Like a talk like I'm flying tomorrow to Vancouver for a few thousand people, and that is a speak and sell talk. So I'm not being paid, and I'm doing a talk and then making an offer for people to learn how to do speaking. It's an entrepreneur event.
Yep.
So it depends on the event, but my belief is when you're paid a fee, you're there to do your job, and you're not there to hawk products.
Sure. Are you a big slide, visual user, or are you like working the crowd, walking the room, and more engaging versus on a slide?
So my rule is PowerPoint or slides, keynote, whatever it is, should enhance your presentation. It should not be your presentation.
Yep.
So I got a great example. So I spoke for these 750 folks, and it was the big $250,000 AV with the lasers and the whole jumbotron thingy. And Wes, this is the first time, seriously, in 3,000 talks, I ever let an AV crew run my slides, ever. And I don't know why I did it. I really don't know why I did it. But they jacked them up. It was all messed up. The PowerPoint was frozen. The slides didn't advance. So great lesson. And I'm getting the video so I can use it to teach other speakers, because if I didn't know my presentation, you don't know your presentation and something like that happens, and you're being paid a nice fee, you're pretty much dead in the water, and you're going to be refunding that fee. Right? So I'm a big believer that it should be you, and that your tools are your face and your hands, and everything else should enhance what comes out of your mouth. It shouldn't be your main message.
Yeah.
Now, I do use slides, but it's to enhance what I'm saying, not to be it. So therefore, when the slides weren't working, I jumped off the stage, start walking in the audience to take their attention off of the screens. So now the cameras are on me, and I delivered most of the talk from down in the audience, because the AV guys in the back, I'm sure you've been through that before, couldn't get it right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They say you earn your money when things go wrong, right?
Yeah.
How well do you handle it? Yeah, that's awesome. So just so people are clear, you had mentioned something earlier about like the people, the casinos and stuff. I mean, there are people that work, like they're event planners at the casino, right? And so an association or a VP of marketing, somebody may call the MGM Grand, let's say, and say, hey, we're coming in, we're bringing 1,000 people, bringing 10,000 people. Will they ask that MGM Grand coordinator, hey, do you have any recommendations on somebody? Is that what you were referring to?
Yes and no. So a lot of times they'll want to do local vendors, right? Because they can save money. We're bringing 1,000 people, and we need local videographer, local AV. We need we're going to take our folks golfing, so we need some local courses. So usually, like the AV person, the hotel person will refer out to a local destination management company that will handle the trekking and the zip lining and the golf course stuff. Right. So they'll have these little booklets basically that they will send to you, the coordinator, that will list a bunch of the local providers. Well, I figured this out a long time ago. 18 years ago. It's one of the reasons I moved to Vegas. I got tired of flying around, and I thought 20,000 conventions a year come to Vegas. Why don't I just move there? Wayne Newton did, and just let everybody come to me. So I through a friend, I learned about the sales and marketing coordinator of the hotel, whose job is to bring business there. And so I started going down and meeting with as many of the, and then I found out there's actual local meetings that they all come to. So it was easy to get them all in one spot. But originally I'd go meet onesie, twosie with all these coordinators. And I'd say, look, I'm a local vendor here, just like your flower people, just like your AV crew. And I do keynote motivational speaking. And I would love to be listed as a preferred vendor on your list. And the funny thing about it, most of them, I sort of pioneered it because here, nobody ever thought about that. So I was like the only speaker, I think I still am for a bunch, that was even listed. So I'm listed in this preferred vendor packet that these hotel people have. However, can't say that, and I'm going to be careful how I say this, but because I don't want anybody getting in trouble, but it's amazing when you incentivize folks how much they refer you.
Yeah. Sure. Makes sense. Got to be nice to people. Got to speak their language. Very cool. So basically what you said, I remember the first time I saw you was many years ago. It was a Mike Koenig event here in San Diego.
Yeah.
And Brian Tracy was there. I brought my son, who's now in college. He was little. I mean, I brought him with me. He was a young teenager. And, man, you barnstormed the stage from the back. I remember you were banging your head on the wall. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? So, I mean, are you still like that kind of a high energy work in the room like that? Because you mentioned like bigger events, you may be up on stage. Is it kind of a venue sort of thing that dictates whether you're up on the stage or you're on the floor?
So that plus which talk I'm doing, that was a speaking offer. I think it was his Firepower event, if I remember correctly.
It might have been.
Or the raise money for Vivian, his wife's charity event. I forget what it was called. But, those were all speak and sell opportunities. And, I was all over. Obviously, if I'm in front of 10,000 people, I can't be like walking through the crowd because nobody would see. So each event dictates that. But I will tell you that I'm pretty much all over. It's just my nature. I'm Ukrainian. I'm Croatian. I can't stand behind a podium, man. I got to move.
Oh, I know, man. I know.
It's just boring for me to just stand there and talk. Like, come on.
You want me to freeze up? Make me stand still.
Yeah. I want to basically tell, gosh, I want people to be successful so much. I'm like, I just want to run up to them, get off your ass and do something, man. Be successful. And it's just my nature. So some people like it. Some people don't. It's not right for everyone. It's not right to be a speaker who's moving all over the place. I just can't stand still. It would drive me nuts.
Do people, if they're kind of new to this, should they still go after a bigger venue, a bigger talk, or should they aim, for a smaller group, kind of work their way up, or, if they're confident in front of a crowd, go for the big one?
So I, years ago, 15 years ago, I think it was, I got to do a program. I walked into the Portland Convention Center, and who's on this program is Michael Jordan, Bill Walton, a couple of NBA guys. And I remember Jordan was like 150,000 or something like that. They were telling me. And I was the only one on the whole program that got a standing ovation. And I was like $5,000 at the time. And I'm like, all right, look, the only difference between them and me is they're more famous and they're perceived to be worth more. But so I started right then and there to realize that those who get paid more are those who are packaged correctly to be perceived that they are a somebody. And because those guys were not better presenters than me, and they got paid a heck of a lot more than I did. So to answer your question, I think it's twofold. I think, one, when you're starting, you speak anytime, anywhere, for any reason. I spoke for meatball sandwiches. I spoke for turkey dinners. I spoke for breakfast. I spoke for free. I spoke for $50 in a gas card when I was starting because nothing gets you better than stage time.
Yep.
Secondly, though, is I believe everybody way undervalues and underprices their time, knowledge, experience, and expertise. And we get this limiting block that, how could I charge that? First time I charged 20 grand was basically just saying, I'm charging 20 grand.
Yep.
And it was way before the TV show, Secret Millionaire. So it wasn't famous or anything, but I just said, screw that. I'm just going to ask for it. And, I learned something from Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen that you don't ask, you don't get.
Mm-hmm.
And so now here's a funny thing, Wes. My talk hasn't really changed much over the years.
Yep.
I just had more courage to ask for bigger fees, and then I started to really package and make myself look better.
Right.
But I'm not a great speaker. I just figured out how to get to the coordinators and get them to pay me.
Right.
But hey, Wes, I got another interview coming up soon, buddy.
All right, man. Well, this has been fantastic. I'm coming up next month to see Brad Lee out at Lightspeed. So if you're
nice.
If you're in town, I'll give you a holler.
Yeah, do that. That'd be cool.
All right, man. Well, thanks for coming on the show.
Anytime. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Hey, this was fantastic.
All right, buddy. Take care. Bye-bye. You too.
I don't know what James is talking about. I will still speak for a meatball sandwich and a gas card. But it's got to be a good meatball sandwich, like my friends over at Vince's Spaghetti here in Temecula. If you ever come to Temecula, you give me a call. We're going to Vince's Spaghetti, and you're going to get a meatball sandwich. And I'm telling you, I would speak for a long time for that meatball sandwich. Especially here in California, gas cards, those ain't cheap, brother. Not just any gas card. It's like fill up my diesel excursion gas card. Now, that's some money. But hey, like I told you, good stuff, right? He didn't hold back. He opened up, gave us some specifics, and he is what you hear. I've met him several times, and now getting to speak with him, and spend a good 30 minutes with him. Hopefully, we can sync up. I'm going to be in Vegas. Actually, when this goes live on the 18th, and I'll be in Vegas for the HubSpot user group. So I'm going to send him a note. Actually, listening to this reminds me I got to send him a note. But you got to speak. You got to speak to influence, to grow. Get out of your comfort shell, go make it happen, okay? If you need some help making that happen, I cover that in the Make Every Sale course. The course has set content, right? It's got set videos on prospecting, on befriending gatekeepers, on setting firm agendas, things like that. But inside the live group, I go over a portion of the workbook each time. But if something needs to go... if we need to go deeper into a subject, I will. And I have analyzed landing pages for people, headlines, email series. And so I'll share with you my steps for speaking, things I do to get people to opt in when I speak. So it's all part of sales and marketing, right? So don't think that, if you're like a business person, maybe you don't have to sell so much, maybe you're more on the marketing side of things, you're still going to grow from this course because everything is sales. I always say great marketing makes sales easy, but great selling makes great marketing possible. So the things we talk about apply to your Facebook ads, to your email headlines, to your direct mail, to the book you may write, to the speech you're going to give. You got to understand how to sell. All right? That's what I mean by make every sale. There's 5 or 10 or 25 little sales that have to be made in any situation to make the sale. So join us in the group. Will you, pretty please, with a 1-year money-back guarantee? I don't know how else to make it easier and more risk-free for you. MakeEverySale.com. Join us there. Now go sell something.